So, ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, I'm very excited to present to you a special guest coming back to his hometown. We're going to talk about that in a second, Coach Alfredo. But coming back to his hometown, he's here. He's getting ready for his upcoming fight at FightersRep 14th on June 25th against Ed Hyman. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Alfredo Borrego. How are you doing, Alfredo?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having
Man,
me.
it's an absolute pleasure to have you, Alfredo. You know, it's pretty cool that you're here. I'm a little sad I wasn't able to see you in person, but I know you're here. You came out here just to get these tricky California medicals done. Kind of let me know how that process has been, and how are you doing it? How are you doing? How are you liking it out here?
Well, to answer the first question, anytime you're doing the medical procedure, it can definitely be exhausting. As you know, it's a series of tests, and you do them with different specialists. So it definitely was a little bit exhausting doing that process. But it all got done, and I'm glad it got done. And Dr. Gluckman, he's one of the most well-known doctors in the fight world. So I was glad I was able to do it with an expert. As far as being home. A big part of coming home too was training with a lot of my old friends and gyms. As you know, Hung over there at Hard Works in Long Beach on the traffic circle. It was good to go spend some time with him and his team. Of course, Tracy Hess, sub fighter there in Lakewood, home of Antonio McGee and his son AJ McGee. So it's just been really nice to be back home and see all my friends and train a little bit in my old stomping grounds.
Man, it's amazing having you back, Alfredo. You left Long Beach some time ago. Kind of tell me, before we get into this fight and everything else going on, kind of tell me what the trajectory was. I mean, you're originally from here, is that correct? And then...
So yeah, I'm born and raised here, Southern California. I'm a Long Beach guy. Grew up here. Started my professional fight career here under Tracy Hess, sub fighter, and then. I got the opportunity to move out to Las Vegas and work with the UFC gym company, which ended up taking me out to Hawaii, where I met BJ Penn and worked for his company out there. And the fight industry is an amazing place because you never know where you're going to end up. And as long as you're dedicated to this industry and to the sport, you can do some magnificent things. So I was in Vegas after Long Beach for a few years, about 8 years. And then right now I'm currently actually out in Minnesota in the Midwest. Just had a baby, just got married, and that's my wife's hometown. So
I see.
We wanted to raise a family out there with near her parents, and it's been really nice. It's a peaceful place, and I love it.
Well, congrats on that, man, on the baby and the wife. And I totally understand. I kind of did the same thing, Alfredo. I'm originally from Miami, Florida, and I moved out here to be with the wife and raise the kids. So I can definitely understand you there.
Yeah, I know. Miami's a beautiful place.
Well, Coach Alfredo, I mean, you've had a few MMA fights as a pro,
That's correct.
but I feel like you're a striking coach. Am I right about that? You're more adept at striking, and this is a kickboxing bout. Am I right about that?
Right. Yeah, that's true. So boxing kind of runs in my family. My uncle's boxed in Mexico, and so I grew up always watching Cesar Chavez and Manny Pacquiao. So boxing has always been kind of like a family business. Getting into MMA under Tracy Hess, I wrestled in high school, but I always had a love for striking, and that was part of the reason why I moved out to Las Vegas, because I really wanted to explore the striking world. And for about the last 10 years, I've been studying strictly boxing. Muay Thai over there at Team Syndicate with Johnny Parsons, who's currently a UFC fighter as well, working with some experts out there. I had a chance to work with the Mayweather team pound for pound under Richard Barrietes, who has 2 sons that are currently top-level professional boxers. So really, striking has really been my passion, and I've been lucky enough to really study that for the last 10 years. So at this point in my career, I would definitely agree with you. I'm definitely more of a striker. I really haven't been on the ground or rolled around in a long time. So it's going to be fun to really explore and perform and really get to enjoy the art of striking. And once again, I really thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that.
And, we're thankful that you're allowing us to give you the opportunity, man. We're excited to have you back here in your hometown. In Los Angeles, essentially, man. It's going to be going down at the Commerce Casino, and it's going to be a great fight against a guy in Ed Hyman, who, even though he's coming off of a loss, is also a very talented guy. Now,
I feel that anybody who signs the dotted line on a professional level, especially for a sport like kickboxing, there's nobody that's a pushover in the sport. Kickboxing is a very tough sport. So I have nothing but respect for Ed, and I really hope that he completes a good, healthy camp, and I do hope that we can meet in the ring and dance a little and have some fun.
Absolutely. Now, Alfredo, you mentioned boxing runs in the family. I know you've got a couple MMA fights under your belt. Have you ever dabbled in kickboxing, or do you feel like this is just gonna?
I've never I've never had a professional kickboxing match. I've sparred a lot of kickboxing, lot of Muay Thai, lot of sparring. But one of the things that a lot of people say is once those shin guards come off, it's a totally different animal. So I'm excited to step into that realm and test myself and hopefully make myself proud.
Now, I know you just relocated to Minnesota not too long ago. I mean, do you have a camp you're training out of, or is that the reason you're here? I mean, you mentioned you're here to link up with your former, coaches and teammates and that. Do you have a place to train out there in Minnesota that you're representing?
I do. So out in Minnesota, I train with a really nice place. It's called 3P Boxing, and they're a USA registered boxing gym. I actually do a little bit of work for them too. I teach a couple classes, train a couple clients. But yeah, it's a great gym, beautiful gym. They got all the equipment I need, and at my level in this sport, it would be nice to have somebody holding pads and mitts for me. But at the end of the day, I know what I'm doing. I know how to train, so it's okay. I don't have a committed coach or camp per se, but I think I'll be fine. Given the skills I have and my ability to train and knowing what it takes to do well.
Alfredo, what I really like about you, right, even though we haven't worked together yet outside of this fight coming up here, is your willingness to fight. I mean, from the very moment, you discovered us on social media, it's like you've been telling me, man, give me a fight, give me a fight. And, that's an attitude that's almost going away, as sad as it sounds, in the sport. I mean, kind of tell me where that comes from and what can we do to find more people like you?
Well, so I'm actually glad you brought that up because I've been in the sport for a long time. My first for professional fight was probably 2006. So I have seen the change in all the fighters, and I have seen how some people have changed from that go get 'em hungry attitude to there's just a different vibe in the air in the fight world these days. But for me personally, I actually, and it's a common story. But my dad got diagnosed with stomach cancer, and he's battling that, and he's going through chemotherapy, and he's doing well. So before anybody thinks this is a sob story, it's
Right.
not. I'm on the golf course. We took him out to play golf today. It was his birthday
Awesome,
yesterday.
awesome. Happy
So he's
birthday.
doing
Happy
very
birthday to
well.
Mr. Borrego.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's doing his chemotherapy is going along really well. Caught it early. My brother-in-law, who lives with my parents, he recently had some serious issues with Morphan syndrome, which, if you may know, it's a disorder of the heart valves, and it's really 90% of people with that disorder die. But luckily, he was lucky enough to make it through that. And I just had a son, so it's important for me to remember why it is that we live every day. And for me, I love fighting. Fighting is my passion. It's just something that I feel like, you know, however you want to interpret this, I feel like God gave me the privilege to be able to fight. He gave me the passion to
Yeah.
fight. It's a beautiful thing. I was in the Army, and there's a lot of people that would do anything to feel the pain of a leg kick. There's a lot of people that would give anything to feel the burn in their lungs from a good run. So for me, it's just the simple privilege to be able to fight, to have the health to fight. If your arms and your legs can move and you love something, I think it's important to spend as much time as you can on earth doing that thing you love. And the fact that I'm at a professional level, to be able to do this is simply an honor. So win, lose, or draw, it's not about that for me. And I don't think it's about that for some of the greatest athletes. It's about just the love for the sport, and the fact that I can do it alone is an honor for me. And I think that's where my attitude comes from for that. I'm just honored to have the health and the skill set to be able to perform and have some fun out there.
Man, Alfred, I hope that attitude that you have rubs off on everybody you teach, on everybody that watches these interviews, because some of the stuff I've been seeing in this fight game, since we got started, as far as fighters claiming they want to fight, not really wanting to fight, is a little bit crazy. But that's for an entirely different conversation. But I appreciate the attitude.
I think a lot of times fighters say they want to fight, but really what they're saying is they want to win. I think every fighter, they don't understand themselves. Every fighter wants to win, and I don't think real fighters just want to fight. I think the way I tell my students is winning is not up to us to know. That's something for the fight gods to determine. There's no way for you to know whether you're going to win or lose, but all you can know and all you can control is how well you train for this and how well you're prepared. So don't even think about winning or losing, because that's not even for you to know. I just want to fight. So.
Man, that's awesome. Alfredo dropping the heat. Alfredo, can you still hear me? We seem to have lost you on video. Okay,
yeah, I had
you're
a
back.
Call coming in on the other line.
All good. All good.
Obviously, I'm doing something a little bit more important right now.
Appreciate it. So, Alfredo dropping gems. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram and follow Alfredo Borrego right there on your screen under his picture, at Coach Alfredo LB on Instagram. You're not going to want to miss his fight on June 25th against Ed Hyman. You can get your tickets or live stream at FightersRep.com or in the description to this video. Now, Alfredo, we're mentioning that fight with Ed Hyman on June 25th. That's why you're here. That's why you're talking. A fight I'm very excited about.
One more thing. I don't know if you knew this. That's my birthday. June 25th is my actual birthday.
That's amazing.
So I'm fighting on my birthday.
I mean, that goes back to the point of guys that really want to fight, right? I don't think I could find too many people that would be willing to fight on their birthday. So, I absolutely love that.
Oh, it's the greatest honor in the world. I mean, I was born to do this. What better day to do this but on your birthday?
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, you've got Ed Hyman coming up, and he's a tough guy. Kind of tell me what you think about him and how you're going to be preparing for this fight.
Like I said, I have nothing but respect for Ed. I know he's a tough guy. And, at the end of the day, as a coach, punches tend to come this direction. Kicks tend to come this way. So at the end of the day, man, and if you look at all sports and all great athletes, it's the fundamentals. I practice the fundamentals day in and day out. And at the end of the day, if your fundamentals are sound, it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the ring. If your fundamentals are where they should be, you're going to be okay. And like I said, it is not my motivation to go in there and win this fight. It's my motivation to do well, to kickbox well. And so that means I'm going to check every kick. I'm going to counter when I can. I'm going to read his movements. I'm going to try to maintain an empty mindset so that I can, so I'm not anticipating anything. And, if you talk to any athlete of any sport, practice the fundamentals, keep your fundamentals sound, trust the technique. And that's what I do. I build my foundation the way Tracy has taught me. Trust the technique, drill every day, and you'll have no fear. There's nothing to fear. Drill the technique. If I win, if I lose, I'm going to put my best foot forward, and I have no problem losing to a better fighter. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to lose because of hesitation, and I'm not going to lose because I'm not prepared.
I absolutely love that. And, have you had a chance? I mean, do you look at tape? Are you just kind of concentrating on yourself? What are you working on?
You know what? I'm only concentrating on myself. I have not watched film, and I do that specifically because for me, this whole fight is the display of kickboxing and fighting as an art form. And so I don't want to know anything about him. I want to be in the moment. I want to read it as it comes. If he does some crazy super ninja cartwheel kick, I better know how to deal with it. But I'm not preparing for any one man. I believe that sometimes when you do that, you prepare for something that doesn't show up that day. Right. So whoever he was leading up to this fight might not be the man I see in the ring.
Right.
But if I prepare for punches, if I prepare for kicks, it doesn't matter who's throwing them, I will be prepared to deal with that. So I don't want to anticipate. I don't want to assume. I just want to go in there and give my best and work on my speed, work on my attacks, work on my mindset. And I think at the end of the day, because if I can successfully pull that off, we'll have a good fight. And at the end of the day, well, what are we here to do but put on a good fight? And in my opinion, anytime two athletes get in the ring and fight, it's not about us. It's about showing the art form, and it's about the people in the stands. It's about the people who are going to watch this fight. Hopefully it inspires others to love kickboxing the way I love kickboxing. Hopefully it inspires others to look more into the sport. And hopefully it inspires others to support this sport so that it's around for my son or other kids or other people that want to keep the sport going. For me, that's what it's about.
Man, that's an incredibly well put answer. Alfredo, you mentioned fundamentals are going to be important in this fight. Fundamentals are important in your life. You said according to what you learned from Tracy Hess. How important or how much more important are they when it's two guys at near 200 pounds like yourself and Ed Hyman colliding in the Lion's Den like that?
Well, it's the most important aspect, I think, of fundamentals, because the thing about anybody who's ever fought, some people interpret it as fear. I interpret it as just energy. The amount of energy you feel walking into the ring before that bell rings. Yeah, they have a saying in the military, and it says after the first round is fired, you can throw the battle plan out the window. So having some game plan, having some sort of concept of how this is going to go down, walking into the ring, you're not thinking about that at all. And then once that first punch flies, you can get rid of any conscious thought because it's not going to be there. So at that point, you're only operating on whatever you've been doing for the last couple years, or whatever you've been doing for thousands of reps in that camp is the only thing that's going to happen. So if you're basing your performance and your techniques on some sort of mental process, some thought process, you're not going to perform well. Fundamentals, it has to be what you perform based on, because any and all conscious thought usually goes right out the window walking into the ring. And once that first bell rings, man, I'll tell you, for anybody who's fought, the mental state you're in at that moment is far from a conscious gameplay. It's not like that. It's this, you almost step out of your body for a moment. Yeah. And at that point, you can only operate on fundamentals. So for those of you guys listening right now, make sure you're twisting your feet when you throw your kicks. Make sure you turn your hips over. Make sure your hands are in the right place. Make sure that you have a coach that's good enough to really drill those things, because when that bell rings, you're only going to be your fundamentals. You're not going to be whatever you think you're going to be leading up to the fight. You're only going to be what you've drilled 10,000 times.
I love it, Alfredo. Man, this is insight into a fighter's mind and a coach's mind at the same time. Alfredo, what can you what would you say, rather, is your best attribute as a fighter?
Well, considering that Ed will probably listen to this interview, you know what? I'm actually I'm not that good at anything I do, to be honest, and I wouldn't worry about anything, Ed. I have no good attributes. My punches don't even fly straight, bro. My hands drop when I punch.
Oh my god.
I'm on my heels a lot. I don't have very good lateral movement. So I'm hoping that this fight teaches me something about myself.
I love it. Alfredo, okay, so I see you definitely don't want to give anything away. What can people that are buying tickets right now, that are purchasing live streams, that are on the fence about it, what can they expect?
You know what? Here's the thing. If the rest of the fights are going to go the way me and Ed's fight is going to go, I'm going in there to win. I'm going in there to do my job. I'm going in there to perform kickboxing to its highest level, which is a win. And Tracy has always had a saying. He says, "Don't leave it up to the judges." So I'll tell you right now, I'm not going in there to dance. I'm not going in there to score points. I'm going in there to do my job as a kickboxer. And a job well done as a kickboxer, the other man should be on the floor.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation. I mean, if you were thinking about buying tickets to come watch Alfredo Borrego take it on Ed Hyman, and you weren't sure yet, I think that helped you make up your mind right there. Alfredo, thank you so much for your time today. is there anything you want to say, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out before I let you get back to your family?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I want to thank God for keeping my father around and keeping him healthy through this fight with cancer, keeping my brother-in-law around. I want to thank God for giving me the ability to do this. And then as far as my actual art form, first and foremost, I got to thank Tracy Hess, who was my first coach. I wouldn't be here without him and his guidance. I want to thank Hung over at Hard Works in Long Beach for allowing me to come to his camp and always being there as a friend. I want to thank Richard Barrietes at Pound for Pound in Las Vegas for giving me a home and helping me sharpen my skills. And I also want to thank Mike over at 3P Boxing in Minnesota. I want to thank my wife, Samantha, for allowing me to do this fight. And one more time, I want to thank God for giving me a beautiful son, Ace Eugene Borrego. I love you so much, my boy. And one day you will see this video and you'll think of Daddy.
Awesome. Amazing interview. Thank you so much for your time, Alfredo. We look forward to watching you on June 25th, brother. Have a great one.
The honor's all mine. You too.